something that was interesting that I read was 1 in 7 men have been victims of severe physical violence, from beating, burning, strangling, sexual trauma, even in the relatives, in the family. A lot of times that happens. So as a mother, how are you parenting not only your daughters, but sons as well? What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Bianca B, and welcome to the Bianca B Show, where we talk about business, finances, and friendship. So I'm super excited to have our next guest on the show. She is an author and mother and the author of Truth on Paper. I'm super excited to have her on because this book is super vulnerable, her sharing her story to women out there and men out there who, been through some stuff. And so super excited to have Zas Winston on. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And then kind of tell us a little bit about your backstory and just like a little bit about you and, how you started out in your fields and progressed through life.
I have always been a hairstylist. I started doing my friend's hair when I was 5. Like that's my earliest memory of, getting me and my friends ready for school in the morning, for kindergarten even, like, and that was just crazy. So it's just something that has always been a gift from God that's just in me. But, then at 13, 14, it ended up being a hustle in order to get money to bring into the household, and feed me and my brothers. And then, I ended up going to getting ROP credits through school in order, to get credits for school and also being able to do something that I love to do. And so I still didn't think that I would ever end up doing hair. But yeah, it's brought me a long way. And then I was blessed to be able to be in, celebrity salons early and go on tours and all of that thing. So it's kind of like that gift that God put inside of me that's beyond me. I can't really verbalize it. It's just something that I'm able to do and I love to do. Even when I'm super duper rich, I'm still going to be doing hair. I'm still going to be doing someone's makeup. I'm still going to be styling people. I'm still going to do those things, So that's how I know that it's literally a true gift from God. And I don't take it for granted at all.
So, a lot of my viewers are from Detroit. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. And there's a lot of young girls who, have this hustle mentality and want to move to places like LA. And what are some like key steps you would give to like the 20-year-old teenagers out there who want to get into the hair industry as far as like celebrity styling? What advice would you give to them?
Uh, First of all, LA. LA is interesting, right? I don't know anything else, but I just know that it's a hustle and bustle out here for real. And it's really who you know, and developing those good relationships along the way. Don't burn any bridges. And, always try your very best and, always try to get better each time. Um, Keep your plans to yourself and just work towards your goal in silence, and that's how things are going to pay off for you.
Love that. Moving in silence. And now going into, the entertainment industry to now being an author. What are some business things that you've learned about, being an author? Because tapping into that world is much different and you market yourself much different. What have you learned so far?
That social media is very important. I've
Yeah.
learned that this is a new revelation to me, that it is so important, so you have to stay on, you got to stay ready, you have to, stay positive and keep on going.
So kind of just talk to me a little bit about your book and why you decided to, be vulnerable and talk about your story.
Honestly, it was strictly for my own healing. I was searching for something to help me get past the pain and hurt that I was going through at that moment, and just praying out, like out loud, like what? And God said, write. So I just started writing everything that was on my mind at that moment, and basically just went back to um, those parts of my life that I feel like molded me into who I am today, just to try to, see why, and why I made the choices that I did, and forgive myself for those choices that I made, and you know really just try to heal past all that hurt and things, because if you don't dig deep and get that stuff out, then it'll resonate over and over and over, and we don't need that,
Yes,
as a collective. Mhm.
absolutely. And I know for me personally, fasting has been something that really helped me. And sometimes when you hear that word from God, you like, God, do you really want me to do this? Do you remember that moment where you were just like, I want to heal? Do you remember that exact moment where you were like, I'm ready?
I've had so many of those moments to take me to the next stage in my life, and this one is a little bit different, mainly for things like this, to put myself out there, because I'm used to being behind the scenes. I'm very comfortable there. So being in front of the camera and getting makeup and all that, that is very uncomfortable for me. So I'm trying to open up, and in all ways of life, and loving myself is the ultimate goal in all of it. And in doing that, then I can receive the love that I desire.
And then, being behind the scenes, the industry is so small and you work for people and you give so much of yourself to people. It's like a day-to-day thing. You have to have this poker face and always putting on for others and helping others. Was there ever a point in your career where you felt like, I love what I do, but now it's time to take care of me?
Several times. But no, this time literally very conscious mindfulness, being self-aware of the emotions that come up, and you know always seeking self-healing, and how to um just forgive myself, and to love that little girl, and to talk to that little girl and nurture that little girl that didn't get it when she was young. And that's all a part of this healing process.
Like, what are some things that you learned financially within your career that you could share with people?
Always keep something for a rainy day. um we've all had to face this pandemic situation, and I've learned that preparation is very important. Always be prepared for whatever may come to you, and save save and invest. Oh, and definitely to invest in silver and gold. I've learned that. You don't know about this dollar now.
Okay. And so going into the relationships, you mentioned earlier that, relationships in LA are very important and don't burn a bridge. Can you elaborate on some of the relationships that you've had within your journey that cherish, and things and people you've learned from that may be in the industry? If you could just share.
I've been blessed to be related to and introduced to a lot of high profile people in my life, and I've never really understood why I was put in those positions, but just being myself authentically. And I'm a woman of service, so I'm always doing something. That's where I'm comfortable. So, people take note of that, and so it makes me more palatable, and I'm always embraced when I see these people in the industry, or um, clergy, church members, high profile churches, and things like that. And a word your word and your works are very important in this industry, in any industry really. But just keeping a good rapport with people, um, that's what I would say is the most important about relationships, building good um, bonds with people authentically.
Amen. And then going into, your book, you're a mother of three.
Mhm.
How old are your children?
24, 15, and almost 8.
Oh wow. Is it boys and girls or?
A 24-year-old girl, a 15-year-old boy, and a almost 8-year-old girl.
And what has motherhood taught you about yourself?
Oh, Lord. I think I was born to be a mom because it just comes naturally to, like I said, a service, and so that is the most important thing the most important job that I've ever had. Um, Getting to know them individually and as well as collectively, inspiring camaraderie amongst them so that they always take care of each other, just loving, just being love and a light, and hopefully my story will help someone else. I definitely try to be as transparent as I can with my children so that they can not be blindsided by this world because it's a cold world.
Mhm. And then going into your story, you went through a lot of trauma,
Mhm.
and a lot of different things happen in your life. And have you been open and have your kids read the book yet?
My oldest daughter has read the book, and that helped us have some deep sea conversations. And that I think that it was very helpful. I had to pray about it before I allowed her to.
Mhm.
Um, and then I kind of had, you know, small conversations with my son because that's a whole nother dynamic, right?
Yeah.
And just it's yeah, you got to be transparent. And what I've learned about my book, I get a lot of people that tell me I'm so brave for sharing my story. But what I've learned, especially in my industry, is that maybe 90 something percent of the people that I know have been through what I've been through.
Yeah.
I'm just more willing to talk about it. And so I want to be that catalyst for more people to share their stories because there's healing in that. And as a collective, I really believe that we can change that dynamic in with our children for our future because they are our future and what happens to them early matters. And so we have to protect each other and help guide each other into the most graceful lives as we can.
Yeah. And something that was interesting that I read was 1 in 7 men have been victims of severe physical violence, from beating, burning, strangling, sexual trauma, even in the relatives, in the family. A
Yeah.
lot of times that happens. So, as a mother, how are you parenting not only your daughters, but sons as well?
Right. To ever since my little girls, but especially were able to talk and comprehend, I told them, what is proper and what is not proper, what is appropriate and not. And that mommy is, you can always come to mommy and tell me what's going on, and don't let anybody tell you that, they're gonna hurt me or hurt you for not for telling. I've always tried to instill that in my children. And as well as my son, and to not be um, to not do anything to be viewed as a predator or somebody, as well as being a prey, but definitely not being a predator, as a man,
Mhm.
keeping him safe and secure in himself so that he doesn't go out and do these things to people.
Yeah, and I think what's so, I don't know the age difference between you and your daughter, but it seems like it's very similar to me and my mom. I'm
Yes.
29 and my mom is in her 40s. And so she
Mhm.
had me very, very young, and she was very upfront and honest with me about life and
Yeah.
being real. And so I have to say, like, when you're honest with your kids, and some people will say, like, you're too honest, like growing up, be like, she gonna grow
I,
up fast and she gonna be this and that. But if my mom was not honest with me, I don't think that I would have been the down the road that I did. So I think that that is very true with parenting. I'm not a parent yet, but I know for our bond, that really, really helped us a
right.
lot. Yeah, just that honest conversation.
Honesty is key, and that's why I named my book Truth on Paper, and I because that's ultimately what it is. It's just the truth, and the truth is just the truth whether it's spoken or not.
Mm-hmm. And then, I will be turning 30 this year. What
Mhm.
advice can you give to those 20s, 30 young females out there, who just really want to transition and be better and do that inner healing?
Never forget who the You are. Do not forget that. Don't ever waver. You know what you know internally who you are and who you're supposed to be in this world. And if you don't figure that out as soon as possible, and because you're here for a reason, we need you, you know, and never shrink yourself or dim your light to make anyone else uncomfortable, or to make someone else comfortable. It's all about you, and like I said, who you show up as in this world. And guess what, tomorrow you can make a change to be a better person.
Absolutely. And so, where can people find your book, Truth on Paper? And when people read this book, what do you want them to get out of it?
They can find my book, Truth on Paper, a memoir, on Amazon.com. And what I want most people to know, that they're not alone in the tomfoolery of this world. Like, we all go through it, and sometimes we don't look like what we've been through. And so I want to inspire other people to tell their stories and be more comfortable in doing so.
You brought up something very interesting before we end this. You don't look like what you've been through. And I think that that is so important for people to take away, because people prejudge people all the time. Like, she doesn't look like depression, suicide, molestation, abuse. And, I really love that you said that, because a lot of people don't believe that you could be somebody who is a victim of those things. So thank you for that. And where can people follow you? I know you're not big on social media, but where can people follow you?
You know what? That was this is a part of my journey too, disconnecting from social media for a minute, for that self-healing. When I'm going through my stuff, I need to go sit at the beach, or, ground, put my feet in the grass, and write my journal out. I have to figure it out for myself before I can give it to all of you all. But don't trip. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm ready.
I know that's right. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at It's Bianca B, Bianca B Show. Make sure you guys listen to this podcast. Make sure you go and grab her book. This is a book that you definitely want to read, and that will help you. Thank you so much.
So much.